What if the walls of your own home weren't as empty as you thought? Tonight, I bring you stories pulled from real experience accounts, from people who were alone in their homes and lived to tell the tale. But they were never truly alone, and maybe neither are you. Lock the doors, dim the lights, and whatever you do, don't look behind you, because what follows is real. It started like any other quiet evening, a chilly Friday night in early November, the kind where the wind howls low, like it remembers something terrible, and the walls seem to absorb more than just sound. I was 16, home alone for the first time in months, my parents finally trusting me enough to handle a few hours without them while they visited family 2 towns over, and I'd been looking forward to a torturing pizza, watching horror movies with the lights off, scrolling through my phone in peace, but nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for what happened that night. The kind of experience that gets buried deep in the marrow of your bones and never quite lets go, no matter how many therapists you talk to or how many times you try to convince yourself it was just a bad dream. It began subtly, the kind of subtly you almost dismiss until it's far too late, with small things, really like the strange metallic clang I heard from the garage around 9 p.m., which I shrugged off as the wind jostling the rake against the wall, or the flicker of the kitchen light as I passed by with my slice of pizza, assuming it was just old wiring. But then the house started to feel different, like it had shifted on some invisible axes, the air heavier, the silence too deliberate, and I couldn't shake the feeling that some winsome thing was watching me from just beyond my periphery, lingering like a shadow that never quite matched the light. I remember walking to the front door to check the lock for the 3rd time in an hour, my fingers trembling slightly as I tested the knob, confirming that it was indeed bolted, yet I couldn't dismiss the creeping paranoia that it had been unlocked. Just moments earlier when I knew, deep down, I hadn't touched it all night. By 10:15 p.m., the sounds began first, a gentle creaking in the upstairs hallway, which I wrote off as settling floorboards, then a soft tapping at the back sliding door, like the polite knock of someone who didn't want to wake the whole house. And when I peeked through the curtains, there was nothing but the empty backyard, bathed in the dim orange glow of the porch light, and still, I felt eyes on me, unseen but unyielding, until I turned off the lights and sat curled on the couch, in the dark, trying to make the glowing screen of my phone a shield against the pressure closing in around me. That's when the real terror began around 11:08 p.m. I heard the unmistakable sound of the kitchen faucet turn on, not a drip or a leak, but a full stream, water rushing into the sink like someone had twisted the handle with purpose. And when I crept in there with a flashlight bus, no way in hell was I flipping a switch. I found the water running ice cold, the handle all the way up, though I hadn't set foot in the kitchen since dinner. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt, and when I turned the faucet off, I swear on everything I know that I heard a voice whisper my name from the other side of the room, low, raspy, and close enough to fog a mirror if it had breath. But when I spun around, there was no one Ethings, the rhythmic ticking of the wall clock and the hollow clench of my gut screaming at me to run, to get out, but I didn't, I couldn't, not yet. Instead, I checked every room with shaking hands, even the attic, flashlight beam dancing over dusty boxers and old holiday decorations, trying to be rational, to convince myself it was just my imagination. But then the upstairs bathroom door slammed, shut so violently it shook the floor beneath me, and when I rushed up there, flung it open with a courage I didn't feel. I found the mirror cracked from corner to corner, and the words stay scrawled in condensation across the glass, as though someone had just stepped out of a shower, though the room was bone dry and ice cold. I ran then, bolted down the stairs, and called 911 with trembling fingers, only to have the call drop as soon as it connected, a burst of static on the line, followed by a deep, guttural chuckle that sounded way too close to the receiver. At this point I was crying, heart hammering, phone dead no matter how many times I pressed the power button, and as I turned to flee toward the front door, I found it wide open, Not cracked, not swinging, wide open, like someone had come in or left in a hurry. But I hadn't heard it open, and when I stepped onto the porch, the world outside felt wrong, too quiet, not a single leaf rustling, not a car in sight. As if the night had taken a breath and was waiting for something. I slammed the door shut and deadbolted it again, turning to find muddy footprints leading from the entryway into the living room. Adult-sized, bare, and dripping wet despite the dry night, and they vanished in the middle of the room, as if the person had evaporated into thin air, or worse, gone. Up which made me glance toward the ceiling with dread, and, sure enough, there it was, a faint scratching above me. In the attic where I had just been, now echoing with the sound of someone crawling slowly across the beams, I locked myself in the downstairs bathroom, clutching a steak knife I'd grabbed from the kitchen, whispering prayers I hadn't said in years. When my phone finally buzzed just once with a single notification, "You're not alone," and then it died again, screen going black as a whispering chorus erupted from just outside the bathroom door, dozens of voices hissing my name in unison, dragging their syllables like nails across glass. And I don't remember passing out, but I must have, because the next thing I knew, the sun was filtering through the bathroom window, birds chirping innocently like the night before had never happened, and everything a Verislong thing was exactly where it should have been, the front door locked, the mirror unbroken, the footprints gone, and Yeti wasn't alone. I knew I wasn't alone because the attic door had been left open, the ladder down, and on the step leading up was a single muddy handprint, too large for anyone I know, and too wet to have been left from the day before. I never told my parents the truth. They'd think I was lying, or hysterical. Bet I haven't stayed alone in that house since, and sometimes, on nights when the wind howls like it remembers me, I get text messages from unknown numbers that just say, "Let's finish our conversation," and every time I hear the floor creak at night, I wonder if the thing that visited me then ever really left, or if it's just been waiting for me to be alone again. You've heard the whispers, you've walked through the shadows, and now, you know being home alone is never as safe as it seems. If you've ever felt watched in an empty room, Abe, you weren't wrong. Until next time, sleep with one eye open. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, for the silence finds you, too.